Love music. Live sport. Just the Juniors with Bill Kilgour and John Redmond on Rock Sport Radio.
ELO and Evil Woman. I think the programme director's trying to get me sacked or something, get trouble with my wife, eh? Evil Woman. Good job she's not listening, John. That's for sure.
Yeah,
good evening. It's Friday night, it's 8 o'clock, so that means it's time for Just the Juniors here on Rock Sport Radio, where we dedicate a whole hour to junior football. I'm Bill Kilgour and he is
John Redmond.
And together we will bring you all the news, views and reviews for the next hour surrounding junior football. John, how are you keeping the night?
I'm doing well, Bill, thank you. I hope yourself. You had a hard week, I'm hearing.
I was in hospital for a couple of days there, and I got a wee bit of news that I have to go for an operation. So, right. But we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, I'm fine tonight, so that's why I'm here, as you can see.
Is that to get a £1 note of your pocket, the operation for, is it?
No, it was to get the £2 out, John. Come on, it's £2 coins I've got now.
I forgot you're rich, wish on man.
I wish on man, rich, I never heard it. Right, John, listen, there's a lot of things happening tonight, as you can tell.
Yep.
Right, well, I've got half time at Hampden between Scotland and Belgium. We're also going to be introducing our guest, and we're going to talk about possibly the new West of Scotland League, which might start next season. So we'll have a wee chat about that as well as all the usual we'll be talking about last week's fixtures and tomorrow's fixtures as well, and see how we go on with that. So, John, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, our studio guest tonight, Bill, is a man who's played with teams like Rangers, Leicester City, Hearts, Motherwell and East Stirlingshire before leaving the seniors and moving into junior ranks, where he started with Stonyburn. He later took on the player manager's role at Whitburn. He also managed Bathgate Thistle for a season. He's currently manager at Armadale Thistle. Is of course Derek Strickland. Welcome to the show, Derek.
Welcome, John.
And the first thing I'd like to ask you, Derek, I see you're a player manager there at Whitburn. Do you think that role works?
It's a hard one. Well, it's a hard one, but as long as you've got somebody on the side, I think that's trustworthy, and if you think you can give a lot in the park and you're more beneficial on the park, but you need to have somebody strong beside you, I believe, that can carry on with the same mould as you feel you are for it to work. It's a really difficult one, but it did work. It worked for me because I had good guys working round about me, so it did work for me. But at the end of the day, you can't give yourself a row when you come in at half time. That was a good thing about that, eh? It was everybody else's fault bar mine.
You're guaranteed 90 minutes every week.
Well, no necessarily, because all legs were away by then.
But did you not find earlier on, John, you had to go and get somebody with the experience, John, Derek, with the experience at Ston at the side of the line? I think you went and got, what was his name?
Danny McComiskey. I brought Danny McComiskey in with me, and Danny was with me for 11 years for his sins, but it was a good partnership. Danny played all his football junior level. He was a goal scorer, sort of the same type of player as me, and he understands the game, and he was a wee bit more calmer than me, so I needed somebody to come in and do that side of it, and it worked really well for the 2 years, and we had a good relationship. We're still good friends off the park, although Danny's not involved anymore, but he still comes and watches the Dale because he's a Dale man.
So what happens with substitutes? Was it David made him or you yourself?
Well, what I tended to do was that I let my assistant deal with that situation. Yep. Uh-huh. You've got to put trust in them. Although I sort of picked the team, but you had to put trust in your assistant. So after I was over the line, and if he thought I had to come off, well, that's just his decision, and that's the way things went. But you've got to put your faith in him, because he sees it better than you. You're on there trying to do your best. He's off there doing his best, but he's watching it for the side, whereas you're playing in it, and he made the decisions and substitutions.
And were you successful?
Yeah, pretty successful.
Good.
Right, excuse me. I've got the thing with. Now, talking about your playing career, Derek, at Rangers, you had a wee story for me, didn't you?
What was it? What story is that?
The story was that you were there was a testimonial, and you weren't playing, and then all of a sudden you were called in.
Well, that's right. In fact, we played Clydebank, who were senior at that time. Now that wee story, because we've now drawn Clydebank in the Junior Scottish Cup. So we played them in a reserve game on the Saturday down at Old Kilbowie, and we beat them 4-0, and I managed to get myself a couple of goals. So as I was coming off the park, the John Greig testimonial game was on the Sunday, and the gaffer says to me, "Listen, you report here tomorrow." And I thought, well, he's going to give me a sample. He just come in to see the atmosphere and different things. So I reported for the game, and just as some of the young boys do at the time anyway, so there were 3 or 4 years, and when I got there he named the squad, and I was actually in the squad, and he brought me on at half time to replace Tommy McLean in front of 65,000 people. So the two goals at Kilbowie obviously done me the world of good.
Aye, so that's a good start, eh?
Aye.
Looking at your teams you played for there, Derek, Rangers and Leicester, I take it the man we're talking about here is Joe Wallace.
That's right. He actually taken me down. I signed for him at Rangers. He taken me down to Leicester in a swap deal with Gregor Stevens.
Oh, right.
And then after he came up and he went to Motherwell, and they actually taken me back to Motherwell for 3 or 4 months as well. But by that time my knee was giving me a wee bit jip, and it just didn't work out. But I played well. He was a great manager to play under. Very hard, but very fair.
Listen, we've got some fan questions. We've always asked now for the fans to give us questions to give to yourself. And one that was looking back at your playing career, would you have done anything different, Derek?
Yes, certainly. I mean, I think everybody looks at their playing career after they're finished, and they look at where did it go wrong, or what could I have done. And probably myself, I think I could have done more training. I wasn't the best trainer in the world, I admit that. I think I could have lived better off the park. And certainly probably my diet could have been better. But in these days you never had the same what you've got now, with people looking after you, telling you what's good, what's right, what's wrong, what's different. I mean, in my day you were made to get on with it. Basically you were left to it yourself, and I wasn't the best trainer in the world. I never missed training because I loved going, but I never put enough in because I thought, well, I've got talent, so I think that's enough to get me through. But it's not.
No, you've got to work at it. I mean, when I played as well, you went to training, and everybody knows the training. It was all running. You never got much of the ball to start with, and if you didn't put it in, it would be a full you. But your manager sees that, and you don't get as many games, don't you? Not?
Well, the thing is, with Joe Wallace, he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was blessed with a tactician. You know what I mean? It was based on fitness, so I was probably the fittest that I could be. But obviously, I could have been a bit fitter and worked a bit harder instead of going for games of snooker, maybe into bookies in the afternoon. Doing a wee bit extra training would have helped me better. And that is a big regret of mine, that I didn't. I'm not saying I didn't work hard enough, but I didn't do enough. I thought that just skill gets you through, and you think, I'm a wee skillful player here, that'll get me through, and it didn't.
One more I've got for you as well. When you took over at Armadale, Derek, what shape was the club in on and off the park, i.e. playing squad, and how was the club run? Well,
when I went to the club to start with, obviously it was in a transition period. They lost a manager at the start of the season in Jim Henderson, who had probably been there for 8 or 9 years, and Jim done a great job at Armadale Juniors, retained them through the second division, into the Premier, into the Super League. And obviously I think it was the same situation as me at Whitburn. He maybe stayed a wee bit too long when he got sacked, and his assistant came over for him, and it sort of never worked out, because the guy that stepped in, by all accounts, is a good coach, but I don't know about number one. So I applied for the job with Jamie, and we got the job. And when we went in, there were 3 guys taking the team who was his players. So I don't know if they thought that they could have got the job, or I don't even know if they went for the job or got interviewed for the job or whatever. But anyway, when I got appointed, they 3 walked out me. So I went to training on the Tuesday night, and 8 players walked out the door.
Oh, jeez.
And that was me left scraping and scrimping and scraping. So the committee were great, and they just said, look, let's try and field the team at the end of the season and see where we go. We managed to do that. A lot of it was hard going, pulling on favours for this one, that one, the next one, but that's what football's all about anyway. We managed to get to the end of the season, then we started to scratch at the start of last season, and obviously played away last season, got our own squad in, got better players in, better attitudes in, and we managed to finish second in the league, which would have been good enough to get us promotion. But with all the changes and what's happened in the East region, we never went up, we never got promoted. But in our eyes, as a club, as a manager, as players, we worked to get that, so nobody's going to take that away from us, because we still think we got promotion. Off the park, the committee's been working really hard. They're putting a new roof on the stand, the enclosure. They've got the asbestos one down. It's in full flow now, and they're really working hard off. So hopefully we're going from strength to strength.
And finally, this is the last one for you. What is your target for the season?
Well, obviously my target is promotion again, because we're in the same league against probably the same teams as we played last year, and everybody's saying, well, Pumferson win the league, they're going to go up again, and Armadale will probably be second. Well, if you look at the table now, it doesn't quite look like that.
It doesn't look alike.
So, but I think for last season we've improved our squad. I think, like everybody in junior football at this stage of the season, with injuries, suspensions, people going on holiday, nobody gets their... I didn't think the season starts to September, October, when you've got your full squads back, and I think that we'll do all right. We need to start pulling results together. The way we've played for the start of the season has not been good enough in my eyes, and I'm sure the players realise that as well. But I've got faith in the players, and I still think that going on a wee run, I think we'll be there or thereabouts again.
And is any of the players away in Stag News? Because that's my pet hate.
Well, that's what happens in football now. I mean, I hate that as well, but at the end of the day,
there's nothing you can do, really.
And when I played football, it was everybody had their holidays, either the Glasgow Fair or the Edinburgh Fair. That doesn't happen now.
No.
And people, and they didn't get paid a lot of money, Bill, so they've got to, I suppose, get their wee bit of enjoyment. But it's just, you've got to get on with it now, and I've just learnt to, well, that's how we deal with it. I mean, 2 weeks ago I had 5 players away at the one time.
Oh, you said that, aye.
And I mean, 5 players in the 1 week, you couldn't write that.
No, you couldn't write a script for that. Thanks very much for that, Derek.
No problem,
We'll have a wee chat later. John, do we have any player movement this week?
Yes, there's plenty of player movement, but first I'll start with committee news. Well, it's all changed at Carmarthenshire Rangers. They've appointed John Hales as their new chairman from the departing chairman David Kerr, who resigned at the end of last season. So that was the committee news I've got for tonight. On the player movement, Cumbernauld United, who seem to feature very regularly on this show for player movement in and out, they put the following players up for transfer. It's David Reid, Martin Shields and Aidan Malone. Atterley, they've also put Macaulay Wilson on the transfer list, so they're busy in that as well.
Aye.
Down to Glencairn, they have agreed to listen to offers for the defender midfielder Stuart Hall.
I don't think Stuart was getting his game. I think he was
good player in his day.
He was
playing.
Aye.
Moving down to Ayrshire and Cumnock, they've agreed to loan Gregory Ferry to Girvan for 2 months.
Oh.
But they've taken Craig Reid in the opposite direction with a permanent transfer, so he's left Girvan to go there, which is the second time Craig's been at Girvan, so he'll know the ins and outs. Troon, they've placed Steve McCready in the transfer list at his own request.
Is that for because he's not getting games, John?
He wasn't getting game time, and quite honestly, the boy's too good not to be getting game time. He's a good player, but he had a couple of injuries earlier on.
He can't get
back in, so
just one of the things, isn't it?
It's one of the things, and we wish Stevie great, all the best moving on. Due to May Bowl, they've signed Callum Nairn from Girvan. That will strengthen Carlo Walker's squad, which I think Carlo needs a few strengthening.
He needs a few, more than one player, I think.
And finally, to the Ants, they've signed midfielder Tony Quinn from Maryhill. So that's the kind of player movement just now, Bill.
Right, okay. Well, listen, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back after this.
Love music, live sport. Just the Juniors with Bill Kilgour and John Redmond on Rock Sport Radio.
Welcome back to Just the Juniors. We're chatting with Armadale manager Derek Strickland, and it's time now for us to have a look at the East Region results last week, John. And it was the East of Scotland Cup, and we're going to start with Fauldhouse 0, Lochie United 4.
Oh well, that's a good start for Lochie this season. They're undefeated in the league and they're going there to Fauldhouse. Always difficult to get a victory there, but Big JC, I think Big John would be setting his stall out to just see how far they've got to go this season, because Lochie United, they're the benchmark in that division this season, so that'll give John an idea how far his team's got to come.
But John was the Fauldhouse were tipped to be one of the ones up there challenging, and it doesn't seem to be happening now, Derek.
Well, he's had a lot of changeover of players, and I think he's a manager that looks as if he's no happy. He doesn't give players a lot of time. I mean, he's probably had about 25 players changed over there. But Lockheed, and what I'll say about Lockheed, we played them in a pre-season friendly up there, and Lockheed are a good side, and I'd be surprised if anybody
beats them.
Beats them, but they'll be. I would be surprised if they didn't win the league hands down.
So if anybody's got to win the league, they've got to be above them.
Yes, and I see Broughty started up there as well, two teams for up there. But Falto's getting beat 4-0. I didn't think it'd be 4-0, but I didn't think. I think Lockheed are a better side than Falto's, but I didn't think, because Falto's are strong at home.
Maybe it's not the park, because it's a new park.
It's
maybe
a new park,
it's settling in for them. Right then, Dundee North End 2, Blair Gowrie 0.
Just looking at the two of them, and they're in the same league, they two, and Dundee North End are near the top, and Blair Gowrie are probably sitting nearer the bottom, 7th, second and 7th. So that's not really a surprise, I would think, especially being at home.
You're in Canoe is 3, Armadale Thistle 0. Bad result for Derek Strickland's team, John.
I'm quite sure Derek wouldn't be happy on Saturday that result, but it's a cup tie and it's a league above them. Canoe's in the division above, so I know why you go there, you're looking to get something, but I think you concentrate more on the league and you won the cup. Well, definitely that cup anyway, Derek.
Well, no, we concentrate more on the league now, you're right. But to be fair, 3-0 it looks a scudding. It wasn't a scudding, but if we keep giving away goals, we'll not win many games this year the way we're defending. But going forward, we certainly deserved something out of maybe a goal or that. I wouldn't say we deserved to win the game, but I didn't think 3-0 is a fair reflection on what happens. But that's junior football for you. If you keep getting them away at one end and can't get them at the other end, then you're always going to be toiling, and we need to sort that out this year. Getting away soft goals.
Stonyburn 1, Scone Thistle 6, John.
Well, once again, it's the league above Scone Thistle, who have started well this season. I mean, they're 5th in that division. So going away from home and scoring 6 at Stonyburn, that'll give them great confidence to carry into the league but next week. Because, I mean, Stonyburn started quite well themselves in their own division. They're sitting about 5th top of that league, played 4 and 6 points, so they've made a decent start.
When I was at Wishaw, we went up, 2 seasons ago, went up to Scone to play them in a pre-season friendly. We beat them, eventually beat them 5-3, but we were 3-0 down at half time. And they were saying that wasn't a full squad, so they must have a nucleus of players around about that way, Scone, because they seem to be there or thereabouts.
Well, I was talking to a Stonyburn manager who I'm quite friendly with last week, and he's just taken over Alan Fleming, and obviously he's had a turnover in about 13-14 players, and what he said to me last week was that he was going to give the players that hadn't played this season again, because he's having a wee look at things because he's more interested in doing well in the league as cup ties. So I think he changed about 5 or 6 players last week.
And that doesn't help either.
That doesn't help, but it gives them an insight to what's going to be happening anyway. But
that's your hometown too. That's your hometown.
That's my hometown, and they have started well. In fact, we go there next Saturday, so
we hope it's a local derby for you.
Next Saturday we go there. I'll no need to get the bus to the game.
That's for sure. Okay then, Derek. Broughty 2, Glenrothes 1.
Well, that's no surprise either, because Broughty are up there with Lockheed in that league, high and fly. Broughty 12 points, 4 games, 12 points, 10 for, 2 against.
Glenrothes is doing it 9th.
I know. So that's no surprise, and plus the fact that I don't know if you've been up at Broughty, but it's not the best of parts of that slopes on it. But to be fair, they play it well, and they'll be. I think, it's obvious they're going to be the team challenging Lockheed at the end of this season, so that's not a big surprise.
No. Carnoustie Panmure 3, John. Tayport 2.
Well, before the game started, there was only a point between these two teams in the Super League. Carnoustie 3rd and Tayport 4th, so it was always going to be a tight game, and that's the way it turned out, with the home team just getting that extra goal in 5 and moving into the next round. But Tayport have started slowly in the league, but they're starting last 2 weeks to get results up, so they'll be maybe quite pleased to get that cup so they can start concentrating, because I think there's a rebuilding job going on at Tayport this season.
Well, that's what John JC said, you know, Big John Connolly said that his mate was up there now, the manager, and he was saying it was a rebuilding job, and he was concentrating the league. He says if we get around in the cup, it's going to be a bonus. Right. Right, so that's that. Okay, Arbroath Vicks 2, Downfield 4. No surprise there then, Derek?
Nah, well, Arbroath have not started the season off that well.
No.
I'll say they're sitting 10th. They've played 4, they've not won a game yet. No. So the cup obviously gave them a wee bit respite for league, and obviously they've been beaten 4-2 with Downfield, but scoring the 2 goals, that might give them a wee boost to say, oh well, we can maybe move on there. They'll have more aspirations to do better in that league and climb out to where they're sitting now.
Aye.
As you say, cup ties are a bonus sometimes when
right.
you're in a form where you've lost 4 games. Okay, we'll get a cup tie next week. It doesn't matter if we win. We could maybe try a different formation. We could maybe try a different player in a different position, and hopefully that might set us up for a league campaign where we can maybe start climbing up the table. Maybe that's what they've done, but I don't think they'll be too bothered about getting beat 4-2 last week.
I wouldn't have thought so. Dundee Violet 1, Forfar West End 3, John.
Nah, no surprise. West End doing well up in the Super League against Dundee Violet, who have had a couple of wins this season, a couple of defeats out of 4 games. So you'd expect Forfar to go through there and win that game.
Okay. And then Whitburn 0, Pumferson 1, a tight affair, Derek?
Yeah, tight affair. Whitburn obviously in the Super League, Pumferson in our league and sitting top 8, undefeated this season. I thought it would be a close game, and by all accounts I think it was a close game. But Whitburn will be disappointed, especially being at home. The Super League club, they've made a lot of changes through there.
You drew with them, didn't you, through there? Did you not play them, Whitburn?
No. We played them a pre-season friendly. We played them at a local memorial game, and we beat them 2-1 at the start of the season.
Was, yeah.
But Pumferson have started the season well again. They were the best team we played last year in the league, and I think Craig Martin down there strengthened this season. He brought in a striker for Broxburn, so it's a wee bit of a surprise, but being a local derby, but I think it could have went anyway, and I wasn't surprised that Pumferson won.
Well, Harthill Royal 2, Newborough 1, John. 2
teams that know each other well, Bill, for the Premier League South, so they'll know each other's game. Hart's always going to turn it as a close game as it's a league position, but it's a home advantage always just paid dividends for Harthill, and it's a good victory for Harthill because they were been struggling there for a wee while as well, but they've now come back, starting to get results.
And here's one, Derek, which we spoke about at the very first game of the season. Kirkcaldy YM 1, Bathgate Thistle 1. Kirkcaldy won 4-2 in penalties, and we spoke after your game when you beat them 5-0, and you said that Kirkcaldy wouldn't be the Whitman boys this year. It's proved right so far.
Aye, because, well, last season, I mean, they could only go one way, and they brought in an experienced manager, and they brought in a guy and his assistant who have got who feel a lot for the club because they were ex-players there,
right.
And they've been in the junior game they went to Lochелly and they managed there, and I was impressed with them at the start of the season. We beat them 5-0, but I don't think it was a 5-0. You were there, Bill. I don't think it was a 5-0 game.
No.
And I spoke to the manager after the game that I knew they would be better this year, and obviously the results are proving that because they're sitting second top. I mean, they've got played 4. We beat them 5-0 on the opening day of the season. They've won their next 3 league games, so that's improvement. And Bathgate Thistle are an experienced squad as well, so to take them to 1-1, Kirkcaldy are going from strength to strength, and that's good to see because after last year they've taken a lot of knocks, and it's great to see a club coming back from where they were and being in the position they're in now, and it takes a lot for a club like that. The committee's bound to be doing handstands with that one.
It must be, considering it was 157 goals against.
I know,
and it's brilliant to see them coming back. Livingston 3, Thornton Hibs 1, John.
Well, that's a shock, that one. Well, the South team turning over the Super League team, and a comfortable result as that as well. But saying that, Livingston sitting top of that division, so they'll be playing with confidence, and that will give them even more confidence. But Thornton Hibs manager must be smart and going down there and losing out in that game.
Lochie Hart 4, West Calder 5. Your opponent Zamora, Derek?
Aye, defence is on top by the looks of that one, Bill. But that's a great result for West Calder because Lockyer in the Premier North, and well, I don't know where they're sitting in it right enough. They're fourth top, right? 9 points, only 3 behind the leaders. So for West Calder to go up there and get a win, and score 5 goals away from home, well, I don't know what I'm going to do in the morning, because we've Chipman goals everywhere, so it might be a phone call to a Gina tomorrow morning.
Part of the bus. You're not going with the bus.
So it'll be interesting. It looks as if they're good going forward on that result, but they're still a wee bit leaky at the back, so it makes for some game in the morning, I would say, Bill.
That might be the one I go to then.
10-9 or something.
If it's going to be that score, I'm definitely going. John, Lochor Welfare 2, Kirriemuir Thistle 3.
The result's not surprising. The score is, I thought there'd be a bigger gap than that between the two clubs. I thought Kirriemuir would win that more convincingly, but well done for Lochor for running them so close. The team a couple of divisions above themselves, so once again, hopefully they can take that back into a wee bit of confidence to go take into league duty and get some results here and start moving up that South League.
Listen, guys, I don't know where you stand in this, but for me, I don't know whether you go for it and keep going until you get the maximum amount of goals, or whether you get to a certain level and you start to tail off. But Rosyth 12, Cooper Angus 1. I just don't know where you stand in that. I mean, that's a big score.
Well, it is a big score, but if you look at the two teams, Rosyth are sitting bottom of their league with 2 points, and Cooper Angus are obviously sitting bottom with no points, at minus 35 after 4 games. So it looks as if on paper there that they're going to take a few scuddings this year. It looks like it's another scenario the same as Kirkcaldy last year, which is, I didn't like to see that. But what do you do? I mean, you can't tell your players to once you get 10 or once you get 6 or once you get 7. I mean, you've got to play at the best.
And then you've got people like us who are doing the Golden Boot as well, so the boys will be wanting to score goals so they can get the Golden Boot.
Well, that's right. I mean, but Cooper Angus looked to be a wee bit in trouble this year, I would think.
Already, and this is what, 6 games in, 4 games in?
4 games in. They're minus 35.
Already, John, East Craigie 1, Luncarty 4.
Well, this is the two clubs first and third respectively in their division, so Luncarty getting a psychological boost over East Craigie when the next time they play in the league game after that convincing victory. So East Craigie are sitting up there top of the division. They haven't been defeated in the league yet, and that was their first heavy defeat they got there, so it'll be interesting tomorrow to see how East Craigie respond to that. Whether they maybe get a wee headache going back, or they get out of their system quick.
Well, you think we'd get it out of their system quick. Anyway, let's move on to the West region now, guys, and we're going to go to the West Premiership. And we'll start with Cambuslang Rangers 3, Glenafton 2. John, we'll give you that one.
Well,
Southie will be raging.
They'll be raging. I spoke to Southie a couple of weeks ago after we played them, and he wasn't happy with things were happening on the park down there, and obviously it's been continuing a couple of weeks since that, and going to Cambuslang, it's a difficult place to go this season because Cambuslang have started the season on fire, but Glenafton really, the size of the club down there, Southie will have to get it sorted out quick because he'll be a happy camper.
Alright, guys, we'll take a wee short break here just now for talking about the football, and we're going to go and talk to Hamish at Hampden for the half-time update. Hamish.
Yeah, Lukaku had been one up at the break here at a rather sparse Hampden Park. The ticket priced at £35, perhaps no surprise that so few have turned up this evening, even with the likes of Eden Hazard, Moussa Dembele and Dries Mertens playing. The latter had the match's first 2 shots in anger. First he forced Craig Gordon into a save with a free kick in 5 minutes, and then he fired over on 17. John McGinn then stung the palms of Thibaut Courtois from distance, with his ball almost swerved through the Chelsea keeper into the net. That would have been an embarrassing moment for him. The Belgians were neat, they were slick, but other than a couple of long-range efforts, they hadn't really threatened, but you always felt they could turn it on at any given moment. The worrying thing for Alex McLeish is that they didn't even have to turn it on for their opener, which arrived just before the half-hour mark. Craig Gordon inexplicably bowled the ball out to McGinn under pressure, and the Villa midfielder didn't cover himself in glory either, as Dembele nipped in and laid off Eden Hazard. He then found Lukaku, and the Manchester United ball tapped the ball into the unguarded net for the opener. They were dominated in territory and could have doubled their advantage had either Vincent Kompany or Eden Hazard found the net with clear-cut opportunities. Scotland have been limited to fleeting counter-attacks, but it hasn't been all that bad for Alex McLeish's side. The most frustrating part for the Scotland manager must be that the Belgians didn't have to work for their opener. It was simply gifted to them. This is Hamish Tartan reporting for Rock Sport Radio at Hampden Park, where at half-time it's Scotland 0, Belgium 1.
Thanks very much for that, Hamish, and you'll get a full-time update on Michael's show after this one, the first play Friday. It seems that Scotland get beat 1-0, guys, so we'll wish them well in the second half. We'll make sure it goes that way. And let's go back to the West Premier Championship, and Clydebank 2, Kilbirnie Ladeside 0, Derek.
Yeah, well, Clydebank have started the season really well, sitting there in second place behind Hurlford, who's obviously got maximum points. It's an interesting one for me, this, because we've drew Clydebank in the Scottish Junior Cup. I believe they're playing at Lockburn Park now. Is that right? Yeah. So that's going to be difficult for us with the way they've started the season, winning 4, drew 1, lost 1, especially in a difficult league like that. So it looks as if Clydebank are starting to come back again.
And then John Kilbirnie, Budgie, we had him on last week, and he was saying he was looking to get kick-start his game tomorrow, and it didn't happen for him.
No, it didn't. Going back to his old stamping ground as well. I'm quite sure our fans would remind Budgie of that. He was there last Saturday. But it's a difficult place to go this season to play Clydebank, and you've got a game in your hands there, Derek, when you come up to, but you know that yourself anyway.
I can know that.
Lockburn Park, Mary Health Park, it's got the brick wall right round.
Yeah, I played there with Stoneyburn, actually, when Neely Watt was the manager at Mary Hill. We played him in the 5th round of the Scottish through there, and it's a great wee atmosphere at the club.
Brilliant atmosphere, but some players get frightened of that wall, so for whatever reason, I don't know.
Well, your players will, because we've got the same wall at Armadale.
Good one, Derek. Right. Kirkintilloch Rob Roy 3, Kilwinning Rangers John 2.
Well, Chris Strain will be fuming this. He started the season well, but in the last couple of weeks have slipped up. But on the other hand, Rob Roy there at Guy's Meadow, Maxie's doing a fantastic job. They couldn't buy a win at the start of the season, and they're opposite in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They just kick-started their season and have had 2 good victories. So another good 3 points against a good Kilwinning Rangers side. So Max will be delighted.
Maxie, considering he had a lot of injuries to start with, I think he's starting getting players back. Largs Thistle 3, Cumnock 3, Derek. Good result for Largs, maybe not so much for Cumnock.
Well, Cumnock are sitting 5th, 6th in the league, 10 points. They'll be looking, but in junior football, and especially when you get to the West region, I mean, that Premiership's still as strong as it's always been in years. They're no way. So any game that you play in there, there's no team given the right to go out and win. You've got to work for it, and it looks a good game for the fans. 3-3. Yep. I don't know how the scoring went anyway, but 6. If you go to a game and there's 6 goals, both fans will come away happy with that, I would think.
And the neutral will be definitely delighted seeing 6 goals.
Yeah.
Right, John, we'll go then. Pollock 2, Irvine Meadow 0.
Good result for Pollock. Tony last week got a lot of slating because he slated his players publicly, but the wee man knows exactly what he was doing when he's doing that.
Of course he did.
He knew what he was up to, and he's got a result and he's got a response for the players. But Irvine Meadow, they're in a bit of bother this season so far, and all's not well down there.
I don't know what's wrong with them.
I'm hearing through a grapevine there could be changes afoot down there, but who knows?
Aye, you just didn't know what's going to happen.
But it's a good result for Pollock.
Well, we'll go with you again, John. Renfrew 3, Petershill 4.
Well, the 2 clubs that get promoted last season, first and second in the division last season, but Petershill, that's their first victory of the season. I've been very surprised after seeing them last season. Obviously they lost a few players, so one will be delighted to get his season kick-started down there at New Western Park, which it's difficult to go down there on the surface, and Renfrew play it well, but Renfrew, they're similar to Meadow. They just can't buy a victory just now, so they'll need to get their season kick-started very, very quickly, or else they'll find themselves detached down the bottom of the league.
Yep, I'm going to give you this one, Derek. Troon 1, Hurlford 2. Now, you played Hurl in the pre-season friendly, so you know exactly what they're like.
Well, just speaking before the show to you, Bill, I thought that obviously Hurlford looked really strong. I was really impressed with them. I didn't see a lot of the West region, obviously, with managing in the East and covering most of these games, but we got them through for the John Gaffney Memorial Trophy, one of our players, and to say that they were just a class above us, and obviously the way they've started the season, it's just proved that they've improved their squad for last year. Well, they were only 90 seconds away from winning the Junior Cup, so they've went on there. Obviously John will be disappointed, but 2-1's it's no a doing, but when you're playing the top teams, you've got to hang in there, and everybody says that it always goes for the top teams. It doesn't always go for them. That's the mentality they've got. They just keep going and keep going and keep going.
Right.
John was saying they went down to 10 men. They probably even played better.
They did Derek, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's what they've got in their locker, and you've got to match that. But if you match that and they've got better players, there's nothing you can do about that.
John spoke to both managers after it, and this is what Dan Henderson had to say.
Let's say six wins for 6 games, which is brilliant. And, for the club, it's 18 for 18, so we just move on to next week. So it's another game. We've got Cambuslang at home, so hopefully we'll treat them like we've treated all the other teams this year, and hopefully try and get some more points on the board. It's early stages, John, but listen, you can't be more than happy with what we've got so far, and we ground that out today. It was a bit hear 'em scare 'em at times, and some strange decisions for the referee, to put it bluntly. I was ordered off myself at half time because the referee put his hands on me, and I asked him to take his hands off me, and he's ordered me off. There was no swearing, no shouting. I just said to him, could you get your hands off me? He shouldn't be putting his hands on me, trying to shove me off the park. So I think it's pure. I went and spoke to him after the game. He says, listen Dan, I'm reporting you because you were walking too slow to go off the park. And I says, you kidding me on? He says, that's why I put my hands on you. And I says, I only asked you to take your hand off me. He says, so I've been ordered after that. But listen, that's just me. I'll be ordered off again. There's no worries there, but I'm more concerned about my players, and we get 2 sent off.
Well, he was more concerned about his players, but he'll get a lengthy ban, no doubt, John.
Well, I don't think he should, because I did witness it myself when we came out of the tunnel, and I think the referee was trying to move him on quicker, but it's Darren. He was fired up anyway because of the half-time talk that happened, and he must have took exception to it. He responded, and the referee had the red card out and just himself apart. So I did feel for this, because the referee, I would have said, the supervisors, and I think it's not to be too sore on it, but I think the supervisors have a busy report to write.
I would have to do something like you were telling me that, John. Yeah. And this is what Jimmy Kirkwood, the Throon manager, had to say after it as well.
But everything for a junior game. Good crowd. Certainly all got behind either team, whichever way it was. On the park, first half was hell for leather. I think we should have been 2-1 up at half time. Missed penalty. You can't miss those chances against a good team like Hurlford.
Junior Cup tell you right in, wasn't it, Jim?
Absolutely. I think they probably felt a little bit aggrieved in the first half that it wasn't a penalty, but it was. But second half, if any grievance you've got with the referee goes completely out the window with the handball from Hodgie over the bar. It's just the ball's going in the net and he's punched it over the bar like a volleyball player. It's just unbelievable that no referee or linesman actually sees that. Is incredible.
I thought Scott Johnson 2 or 3 good saves for Troon today.
He did, and he does that, John, as you know. He keeps us in games. He's made 2 1-on-1 saves. Which, so from Hurlford's point of view, there could have easily been 3 or 4 if you looked at it that way. So Scojo's done that for us, and you know yourself, he does that, and he does it well.
Thinking about the bank balance and seeing a good crowd, was he?
His dad was in France, and he'd been rubbing his hands at the people in that gate. There was a good crowd. A good crowd down from Hurlford, I've got to say.
Good atmosphere as well.
Yes, but
is that the fact that when the team's winning, they sit at the top of the league, they've won 6 out of 6, you're going to get a crowd, because there's no famous having a big support, Hurlford.
No, but all of a sudden there was a big support. There's one person I wish wasn't there, that guy with that horn in the bell. Oh my God, he stood behind the dugout and deafening. If you're going to be Hurlford, Derek, stay away from the chap with the bell.
I'm telling you, he's murder.
He's entertaining as nothing else.
I think he followed me all around the park at Beltane, everywhere I went, he was there. Unbelievable.
Brilliant. Good atmosphere though.
Aye. But Jimmy was disappointed, obviously, with the result, considering they went down to 10 men.
Aye, he was disappointed, but as you said in his interview there, that thoroughly deserved. Hurlford thoroughly deserved the victory. As I said, with 10 men, they'd hit the post a couple of times. Our goalkeeper had 2 or 3 good saves, and then they were down to 9 men in the last 2 minutes when Liam Caddis got sent off for 2 bookings. And then the penalty incident came in the last minute. But I think if we'd have scored, got a penalty and scored and got a draw, it'd been injustice. All
right then, let's get into the West Region Championship then. Atherley 1, Neilston 1, Derek.
Yeah, Atherley and Neilston, that's a local derby, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's not surprising that it's probably a draw, because these local derbies seem to throw up things like that. But Arthurlie, a big name in junior football, just sitting halfway down the West Championship. Well, they've had a lot of turmoil, I believe, Arthurlie, over the years. The last 2 or 3 years.
Manager since the letter call manager that's in there now, Derek Sinclair. Yeah,
well, I think they've had about 6 managers in the last 2 years, if they know.
But Sinke's brought in a lot of decent players.
Well,
he's starting to settle down now.
He's a good manager, isn't he, Big Sinke? Is that the guy that played with Lismahagy all the years ago? Cumnock guy. So he's got a wealthy experience. So, given time, he'll be hoping that he can turn that club round, because in junior terms, it's a massive club, Arthurlie, and always have been.
It can have a big support as well, and things are going right. So that's something to look forward to as well.
Aye, it's a hard place to go anyway down there. That wee part that they've got down there.
It's tight. Craig Mark, John, your old team at Eumanis, 1, Rossvale 2, one of the promoted teams, two promoted teams basically into that there.
Yeah. And Rossvale doing better out of 2 of them. Craig Mark, they've got 1 victory and a couple of draws. But Rossvale will be one of the teams up there challenging. So
they're sitting second at the moment.
I know from ourselves, you said managing Craig Mark down there, Station Park's a difficult park to play on, and teams don't like going there, so it's a fantastic result for Rossvale going down there and getting the 3 points.
Dalry Thistle 1, Derek Benburb 1, one of the new promotions there.
Yeah, well, both of them are sitting there pretty in the league, so 12 and 13 points, so obviously there's no much between the two teams, and obviously that happened, it came away 1-1, so I don't think they're a surprise there. But these games, when you're playing against the top teams, you really need a win if you want to push on. The difference between 3 and 1 point's massive at the end of the season. You've got to win these big games, so both of them will be disappointed in the sense that they've no pushed on and got the 3 points, but looking at their respective league positions, I think a draw looked on the cards at that.
Aye. Darvel 1, John, Rutherglen Glencairn 1, and Rutherglen Cairn's been setting the pace there.
Aye, they were disappointed getting down to Darvel and not getting 3 points, because
Darvel's down near the bottom, they're fourth bottom.
They're fourth, they haven't got a victory yet, but at this moment in time I think the Darvel players are underachieving, and the amount of players that they've got there, they'll come good, Darvel. So if Glencairn can get 3 points here, that'll help them, because Darvel will come good and they'll start taking points off other teams. But that's why I'm saying Glencairn might be disappointed not to hold 3 points. But from Darvel's point of view, it's another point in the table and they move on. But they've got too many good players to be languishing where they're in that division.
Everton Vicks 2, St Roch's 5. Derek, St Roch's have had a ropey start to their promotion in that table, and Victoria, they've been struggling a wee bit as well. But as I said, St Roch's 5-2 winners there.
Well, St Roch's were one of the favourites at the start of the season to go up there, weren't they? I believe
the amount of players that they've brought in, they were expecting to be up there challenging.
Well, if you look at the table, obviously they're sitting for 10 points for 6 games. They're only 6 behind the leaders, so if they've had a bad start, maybe getting the 5-2 away from home, 5-2, you would take that any day. So maybe that'll kickstart them to get to the promotion, because obviously if they've brought in these sort of players, they'll be looking to be up there. But that might be just the wee boost that they need to push them on for.
To get a big result of that, that usually gives the boys confidence, doesn't it?
Especially away from home. It doesn't matter where you go in the junior game. If you can get 3 points away from home, it makes a massive difference in your league campaign.
Yep. OK then, John. Keller Rovers 1, Whitlets 3.
Great result for Whitlets going down there to Nistdale Park.
It's tough down there.
It's tough down there. I know Keller are struggling down at the bottom. They haven't had a victory so far, but even at that part, the crowd's right on top of you, and you've been down the Selva Bishop, Bill. It's a difficult place to go and get a victory.
It's very tight as well, and
it's deceiving. The bottom end, you think the ball's run out, and
it doesn't.
But the Keller boys know how to play that game. But getting down there with Whitlets and get a 3-1 victory, that will give the big Grierson a wee boost, because he's been on the text to me all week moaning that his hips sore and all this.
Well, he's doing too much. You see him on that Twitter, he's on out and walking and all the rest of it without crutches. No wonder he's doing. Can't say that.
Well, that's what I tell him. What I says, for once in your life, listen to somebody. The district nurses tell him not to, but no, big Grierson, he knows it best. So,
of course he does.
He's doing too much. But all joking aside, listen, Paddy Clarence, who's come in and took the reins over from just now, is doing a good job. So it goes good for Willis.
He's keeping it going.
He's keeping it ticking over until the big man gets back into that waistcoat.
Waistcoat. Kilsyth Rangers 2, Cumbernauld United 1. Bad result for Cumbernauld United. Local derby there.
It's a local derby. As it goes in all local derbies, they're hard to call at times. But Kilsyth will be happy they've come out with a 2-1 win, and it's pushed them up into 4th place, only 4 points behind the leaders. So as I say, derbies are can go anyway.
Cumbernauld are still in the chase anyway.
Oh,
They're sitting with 10 points, so 6 points behind the leader, so that could change at any time, couldn't it?
Well, the thing is, there's 9 teams up there, and there's only 6 points between them. So you go in a run of 2 or 3 games, it doesn't have to put you up that. So even down to St Rochs, they're not out that yet.
And Larkhall, that's what they're doing at the bottom there, John. They'll be relieved. They didn't have a game last week, so it was a 0-0.
For a while, isn't it?
Let's look at the League One then. East Kilbride Thistle 2, Yoker 1, John. Disappointed with Yoker's start?
Well, very disappointed, but that's what I was about to say to you. We played Yoker last season, they put Troon out the Scottish Cup, and I thought they were a really good side at one point last season, and I expect them to do big things this season. But whether they've lost a lot of players or what's happened, but they've had 1 victory out of 6 games, and there's something far wrong at Yoker.
Well, there is. We played them in the I think it was the 5th round, the Scottish, and we beat them 3-1. It was a tough 3-1 to beat them at Yoker. They were the better team to start in the first 45 minutes, but after that they seem to just die away. So whether that's a follow-on for last season or what, I don't know.
Strange.
Glasgow Pershore 3, Blantyre 3, Derek.
Well, I would think Blantyre would be looking to win that. They're up there in the league. They're in the top 3 there in Glasgow Pershore. So again, it looks as if a high scoring game, fans would go away happy, but obviously the managers wouldn't be too happy, both teams losing 3 goals. But a good game for the neutral, but I would have expected Blantyre to win there.
John, Greenock 1, Royal Albert 4. What a start for Royal Albert.
Fantastic start for them. I mean, Greenock before that game were undefeated, having won 4 and drawn 1. But Royal Albert with Simon Eales and that back into the form there, Simon's down there. They've come right up for the Ashes, haven't they? They've come right back into it, and great to see clubs like Royal Albert coming back into it and starting competing, and to go there and get a victory at Greenock, that Ravenscraig Stadium I hated going there.
I still hate going there. And they're sitting second top, Greenock, so that's a good result for
Fantastic
the Albert. Considering they don't pay their players any money. Royal Albert, they never pay their players money. Right. At the end of the season, what they try and do is get a lump sum together and split it between the boys for a night out. But that's all they do, and it's fantastic the way they get things done.
I hope win promotion now, you've told us that, Bill.
Look at Boswell 2, Ardrossan Winton over 6, Derek. A big result for Winton.
Well, that looks a formidable result, because Luger's sitting second bottom, Ardrossan third for the top, so I would think that was pretty expected. Maybe no the 6-2 margin, but you would expect them to go there if they're going to be if they're going to be going for promotion. They would have to go to places like that, second bottom, and win. Maybe not with that margin, but you would expect them to win. I didn't think there's a surprise there.
Look at the Maybole 1, John, Maryhill 2. So the 2 teams that would be getting slaughtered and getting big scores against them, Maryhill came out winners in that one.
They did, and Carlo was disappointed.
I believe Maybole went ahead as well first.
Did he? We were speaking to Budgie a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying he knows the manager of Maryhill personally. He's going there and with under 21 boys and starting to rebuild. So that's good to see, and it's good to see they're getting confidence now and getting results, going down to places like Maybole winning 2-1. They can carry on now in the league and hopefully move up that division pretty quick.
Port Glasgow 2, Shettleston 0. Shettleston's fell quite away.
Shettleston, another big name in junior football, but they seem to be struggling away there in mid-table. Port Glasgow sitting 4th in the table, looking to push on, 10 points, 6 behind the leaders. So that's a good result for Port Glasgow.
John, Shotsbonaccord 0, Gartcairn 3. Now Big John at Shots will be disappointed, but I'll tell you, Jamie McKenzie at Gartcairn, he's done a fantastic job there.
What a start for him, sitting up there, played 6 with 16 points. And I mean, we all know what Shots is like to go to that big park and play football. But Gartcairn, we played them in a friendly at the start of the season down at Cullinan, and I was impressed with Gartcairn. They beat Troon 2-0. And they played a lot of good football. So
if you've got a playing surface, I'll play football. If it's not a very good surface, you can go long ball as well. They can do both, and that's our strength, you know.
Good on them.
John, Wishaw 1, Bellsill 2.
Seaside derby, is it?
Seaside derby, Wish is struggling a wee bit. So is Bellsill to a certain extent, but Bellsill came out and winners on that one. Derek. Aye.
Oh, Belsall, aye. Well, your old team, Bill, wish you juniors, that just shows you for your left how far they went down, That's for Scottish Cup semi-finalists down to fourth bottom in the league now. I think they're another club. You said they've got a new manager in, and it's maybe taking time for them to settle in and getting players in that. They've lost a lot of players, haven't they?
It was 12 players they lost.
12 players, it's a lot for anybody, so it's going to take time for them to settle in and things like that, but obviously looking at where they are now, it's they'll want to pick up some results and get themselves up that table.
Aye. Let's get into the second division then. Ardnere Thistle 0, Unbank 2, John.
Well, Ardnere have had a terrible start this season. They were a good side last year as well. Difficult place usually to go to Ardnere, but Unbank United, they've come in this season. Barry Ross has moved down from Darvel, and he's taken one or two Darvel players down with him and added some youth from under 19s kind of mixture go. So as we say all the time in here, without repeating myself about inconsistency of young boys, that's the biggest problem he'll have this season. But last Saturday, certainly they knitted together and got a great 2-0 victory with Ardnere. That's a fantastic result for them.
Good one. Johnsonborough 2, Ashfield 2. Johnsonborough is a promoted team last season into the division, and they've started really well, and so is Ashfield, but they've sort of struggled a wee bit this season.
Well, Ashfield...
No, Ashfield at the top of the table, what we're talking about, I'm looking upside down.
What I was going to say there, well, if they're struggling, they've only dropped 2 points in 6 games. If that's struggling, I wish I was in that situation. No, I think that's a great result for Johnsonborough, because that's the first points that Ashfield have dropped in the league.
That's right.
So looking at it, although they're at home, but they would have probably taken that before the game, and a point against the league leaders and taking them their first points off them, that might give Johnsonborough a wee boost and hopefully kick on for there.
Local derby this time, John. Lanark United 3, Carluke Rovers 0.
Yes, Lanark looked to decide to beat this season, and they're moving up that league very rapidly. And you said you watched them a couple of weeks ago, Bill, and you're talking highly of their striker, if I remember rightly.
A wee fella, what a player he is. He came for Carluke as well, and he scored goals for fun. He's 5'2", 5'3", and gets in about the big defenders, and he can strike a ball with both feet. He's brilliant, to be honest.
Good result for Lanark to keep the pressure on at the top of the division.
Newmains United 2, Vale of Leven 7, another big result for Vale of Leven.
Well, looking again, Bill, at the table, it's maybe the scorelines, maybe the 7-2, but looking where they're both positioned in the league, Newmains struggling away there, third bottom, and Vale of Leven sitting second at the top there, a point behind the leaders, so that's a good result for them going away from home.
Well, there goes the final whistle in this show. My thanks to Derek Strickland for coming in tonight, and all the best tomorrow and the rest of the season, Derek.
Thanks, Bill.
And for you, John, your input is immense as usual. And to everyone who took the time to come and see us tonight and listen to us tonight, thanks very much for that. And it's good night.
Love music, live sport. Just the Juniors with Bill Kilgour and John Redmond on Rock Sport Radio.